Good evening and welcome to Poland Daily. I'm Natalia Moczulska and this is the news. Day 303 of the Russian invasion of Ukraine. The Kremlin has described it as a special operation from the beginning. But during a speech yesterday, President Vladimir Putin spoke openly about the war for the first time. Meanwhile, the Wall Street Journal reports that the authorities in Kiev intend to present their peace proposal at the end of February, on the anniversary of the Russian invasion of Ukraine. President Volodymyr Zelensky's acquired support from the U.S. will accelerate the ousting of the Russians from Ukraine. Possible victories will strengthen Kiev's position ahead of planned negotiations with Russia. At present, however, both Kiev and Moscow are not betting on diplomatic solutions. We return from Washington with good news. We have acquired the Patriot system. This will translate into the protection of our state and nation. There are also other agreements, but we will talk about them later. We also spoke with President Andrzej Duda about our visit to the U.S. I told him what I heard in Washington about our strategic vision for the coming year. We are preparing and strengthening our joint forces. The situation on the Donetsk front line has remained tense for months. The Russians' numerical superiority and constant shelling make it impossible for the Ukrainians to break through enemy lines. Yesterday, Ukrainian troops pushed Russian forces out of areas a few kilometers south of Bakhmut. News of incoming military support from the U.S. is boosting the morale of soldiers fighting on the Kiev side. 3 children are waiting for me at home, 2 adults and 1 toddler. I came here voluntarily because I am protecting my country. Boys like those next to me think alike, and none of them will give up. We are grateful for the help. The more equipment we receive, the easier it will be for us to win. The tightening of Ukrainian-American relations is not positive for the Kremlin. Over the past 24 hours, the Russians have carried out 6 missile strikes and 6 airstrikes. Among the targets of the attacks was a school in Kramatorsk. I was on the balcony and heard the sound of a powerful explosion. Then there was a second impact. The school went up in flames and smoke was rising above it. The whole yard was full of smoke and debris. Power poles were also damaged, so the electricity was turned off. The property was freshly renovated. I am flooded with tears. How can this be? Why? There is not a single soldier here, nothing related to the military. Yes, they were stationed here in the summer, but only for a week. Now all the soldiers are on the front line. I think the Russians are deliberately preventing the children from learning. Meanwhile, G7 finance ministers have announced support for Kiev for next year, valued at $32 billion. In addition, further sanctions burdening Belarus will be imposed if Minsk continues to enable Russia's war with Ukraine. Central to our assistance to Kiev is air defense, because every Russian missile shot down from Ukrainian skies reduces the scale of the destruction. Our support is another supply of weapons and ammunition. The Federal Republic of Germany will provide Ukraine with state-of-the-art IRIS-T systems, as well as additional tanks. Yesterday, the United States also pledged support for Ukraine. The U.S. Senate voted on a budget for 2023. Aid to Ukraine next year will amount to nearly $45 billion. The funds will be used for humanitarian, military, and economic support. Prime Minister Mateusz Morawiecki and Deputy Prime Minister, Head of Ministry of Defense Mariusz Błaszczak, attended a Christmas Eve meeting with soldiers of the Land Forces Training Center and crews of U.S. Abrams tanks at the base near Poznań-Biedrusko. In addition to the traditional Christmas wishes, the Prime Minister spoke about the unprecedented funds allocated for defense.
Podstawowym filarem
The basic pillar of a modern army is Polish manufacturing and purchases of state-of-the-art equipment abroad. As the best tanks in the world, Abrams tanks that are second to none on the battlefield will provide excellent potential to deter our potential enemies. But remember, the pillar of the army must be strong finances. It is by repairing public finances that we can afford to make these purchases on a scale previously unknown.
To właśnie dzięki naprawie finansów publicznych
będą czołgi z załogami.
There will be tanks with Polish crews to defend the eastern part of our country so that the aggressor and the Kremlin's rulers who are trying to rebuild the evil empire will not dare to invade Poland. This is the best method of deterring the aggressor, and it is a very strong embedding of the Polish military in the allied structures, in the structures of the North Atlantic Alliance.
W strukturach Sojuszu Północnoatlantyckiego.
A looming winter storm of historic proportions threatens to upend travel plans for millions of Americans. As many as 135 million Americans have been placed on severe weather alerts. Many regions of the country are already struggling with extremely cold temperatures, heavy snowfall, and gusty winds. With the holidays approaching, fierce snow conditions are threatening those traveling for Christmas, as traffic paralysis is being forecast. Heading into the Christmas holiday weekend, the looming storm brings with it blinding snow from the northern plains and Great Lakes region to the upper Mississippi Valley and western New York, while significant icing from a separate Arctic blast hit the Pacific Northwest. By late Thursday, December 22nd, most of the lower 48 states from Washington state to Florida were under wind chill alerts, blizzard warnings, or other winter weather advisories affecting millions of people. A deep freeze enveloped most of the United States early on Friday. Combined with a massive winter storm brewing in the Midwest, 2/3 of the nation is under extreme weather alerts. Wind-whipped flags and snow came down hard in Paducah, Kentucky, as utility crews worked to plow parking lots. In Portland, Oregon, a resident used a credit card to scrape ice from their car windows. More than 4,500 U.S. flights scheduled for Thursday and today, the 23rd of December, have been canceled, with two major airports in Chicago accounting for over 1,200 of the cancellations, according to flight tracking service FlightAware.
We're still out here getting rid of the snow off of it, just in case we have a small plane that comes in.
Wind's going to be challenging for the next 2 or 3 days for us. You know, if it was just snow, we could broom it, we'd be done. But we're going to have to keep going to certain areas that are going to pocket up.
We thought we'd save time by flying closer to home. And now our flight has been canceled twice, home to Iowa. Fortunately, we have my daughter here to stay with, but we're waiting for her to come back for us the second time.
The flights were disappearing on my computer as we were rebooking, so yeah. I know. Little stressful.
In cities like Chicago, residents are bunkering down and stocking up on supplies to last through to beyond Christmas.
Just went to the grocery store so we don't have to come out for this week. And we'll be stuck in the house looking at the snow.
You like snow?
Yeah, I love it, especially for Christmas.
I'm getting ready to pick up 50 pounds of salt. I have some salt already, but I'm going to sprinkle it in front of my house and make it easier for me to shovel.
The Weather Service announced that the cyclone could spawn snowfalls of a ½ inch or 1.25 centimeters per hour and howling winds gusting to 60 miles per hour or 97 kilometers per hour from the upper Midwest to the interior Northeast, producing blizzard conditions and near zero visibility. And finally, as a way of celebrating the Christmas holidays this year, actors and musicians entertained visitors in Slovenia's Postojna Cave, performing a recreation of the story of the birth of Jesus Christ. Visitors can watch the story told in 16 scenes strung along 5 kilometers or 3.1 miles underground in Postojna Cave in Slovenia's southwest. Around 100 local actors put on the show, which is also illuminated by more than 2,100 colored lights, according to the cave's website. Show organizer Marian Batagelj said they were working towards getting the performance inscribed on the UNESCO World Heritage List. This is the 32nd live nativity to be held in Postojna Cave. We are very proud of the show. Only local people play in it, around 100 of them. We are also proud of the costume designs. We also are working on getting this included in the UNESCO World Heritage List because of all the effort the actors and technical staff put in. We believe they deserve this. The shows are daily, in an interval of 15 minutes, and just imagine how much effort the people who are sometimes staying up to 5 hours in the cave put in. And after all, that they still say, we are happy to be part of this story. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. Please stay tuned for Poland Daily Weather, Poland Daily Business, and some of our other programs. But for me, it's have a wonderful evening.